saying that episode of 86 was phenomenal. What a way to actually end this series on this cliffhanger. And boy, what a cliffhanger it was until March. I thought this episode was fantastic. This episode had some really great stuff. I think this is an episode that had a lot of action, which I think people were definitely clamoring for, as this part of the series, in my opinion, already had quite a bit of action, but this was a great way to go, hey, we're sorry about the delay, but here is this phenomenal episode to end on until, we can get it out of March. Of course, if you want to see my thoughts and opinions and my epic triggered rant on why this series has been delayed, then of course that video is already on my channel, but as well, check out my episode 20 reaction, which released yesterday and didn't get a lot of views. So let's get into the video. So the first part of this episode is really foreboding of what I think happens in the rest of the episode. So Frederica is with Raiden, and Raiden asks Frederica if she can ignore everyone but Shin and just run and go. And she says yes. Well, she says but that's a whole different thing. This opening scene obviously is very integral to what is going to happen in the later half of this episode, because she basically completely ignores that, and well, it makes sense why she would. I don't think anybody expected her to run away from battle or whatever it may be. It's Frederica. She's gonna keep fighting because that's just kind of who she is. And pretty much immediately the battle begins. It goes underway, and it seems that immediately the Legion are after something. This is something that Frederica says, and pretty much right after that, Anju is taken out. They fire a bunch of missiles, and she falls from the cliff, and she asks Fido to leave behind the rocket pods. And it seems that at least what they were trying to get here is that she sacrificed herself with those rocket pods and blew them up along with herself. That being said, all of the deaths besides one in this episode happened off camera, and I don't think Kurina and Anju are dead one bit. We'll talk about Kurina in a second, but Anju especially, she pretty much dies in what is assumed to be a gigantic explosion from the rocket pods, and it's just something I don't believe. I can guess, I guess I can believe Raiden dying because we saw it pretty much right in front of our eyes. He made a noble sacrifice, but at the same time, Anju? Nah, I don't agree 1 second that Anju is dead. Neither is Kurina. But I will say, what I do like about this scene, it's a little interesting tidbit. On the side of the panels of her cockpit, you can see that it's actually informing her of possible injuries to the head and blunt force trauma and concussion and all that. It's a neat way to show that while these mechs are sometimes considered walking death traps, they actually have a lot of built-in ways to inform the pilot of what's going on with their body. I love that kind of stuff. It's really nice attention to detail like that. And I also like how it's in English, because that is very consistent with the series so far, is many, if not all of the language that we see in this series is just English. Which is, for us English speakers and readers, it's very, very cool to see that, because I don't think we get that experience in anime quite often, where a lot of the language used in anime is actually English. Obviously, there's other languages in this series as well. There's, German and stuff like that, but I think it's just really neat that what they did with the cockpit there and making sure it's English, and it's really nice attention to detail that I quite enjoy. So as for Kurina's air quotes death, this is another one where it pretty much happens off screen, even though we see the ID tag in the cockpit flicker to off. I don't believe for one single solitary second that Kurina Kukamilla is dead. Not at all, but they are hit by a scatter shot bombardment, and Kurina's like, yeah, I'll go on my own. I'll help everybody. It's one of the way they set this episode up. It's like one after one, all of the members of 86 are pretty much just taken out, and that's what happens to Kurina, or so to believe. Even in this scene as well, Raiden gets hurt, but he says that, well, since he's now hurt, he's now down and out. And in my opinion, that was more of a death flag than what happened to Anju and Kurina, just because we can see Raiden is hurt in that instance, whereas with Kurina and Anju, it could literally just be something like their mechs were totaled and they are fine. So yeah, I don't believe for a second Kurina's dead. Kurina is way too adorable to die, and so is Anju. I don't think those two are dead, just based off the way they went out. They did it off camera. This is a very good way, in my opinion, to build up hype around the next episodes, because it's like, well, the questions coming out of this episode is, where are Kurina and Anju? Are they still alive? And I think that builds up a lot of, hype for the return in March. Something that's very much needed as well. So now that Raiden's hurt, Raiden's basically like, Frederica, you gotta go. And so Frederica goes with Fido, which is actually a very important scene in this, because as we learn, Shin pretty much tells Fido to lock up Frederica and keep her safe and to return her to the Empire when all this is said and done. And to basically hide, tells Fido to actually hide, which I think is rather telling of Shin's character, that he would rather take an ally like Fido and make him hide, making his job possibly harder in the process, to then basically make sure that Frederica stays alive, even though if they die and they fail at their job of taking out Morpho and Kiri, they're all dead anyways. So it's rather telling of Shin's character. He still wants the best of Frederica, and it shows that he really cares a lot about her, especially for her safety. I like as well the scene where he locks her up in Fido, and Shin's like, you wanted me to rescue and save Kiri, right? You don't want him to die. And that was a really interesting line I think Shin gave, because it, for me at least, it made me think about what he was saying. It made me think about what it means to save Kiri in this instance. I think in this instance, in a way, what they were trying to get across is that to save Kiri, the only way to do it is to kill Kiri. That is truly the way to save his character and his person, is to end his life. Because at this moment, he's more or less this monster. He's not the actual Kiri, even though it may seem like it. It's all, dust and echoes. So it's some pretty cool stuff I think they were playing with that line, which goes to show, once again, the writing in this series is top-notch, super phenomenal. So the moment we've all been waiting for, and the moment that Frederica has obviously been dreading for the entire series, and that is the showdown between Shin and Kiri. I want to point out one of the lines he says pretty much initially is, come, 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 come. All I have to say to that is, you gotta take me to dinner first, Kiri. Moving on, I do like how Frederica in this scene, or this fight, I like how they utilized her using her powers in this. And God, must I say, I love it when she uses her powers. I like the sharp, glowing red eyes. I think that just looks really striking. And it goes to show that the art department at A1 Pictures is so freaking good at what they do, because this, by the way, this whole fight is incredible. This is one of the better animated fights that I've seen in the fall season, and I don't think off the top of my head I can think of many other fights in this season that really compare to this one. This one had a lot of great stuff going on with it. It had a lot of drama, a lot of action, a lot of build up, a lot of character, a lot of subversions. I mean, you had the moment in this scene where Raiden sacrifices himself so that he can save Shin and bail him out one final time. You also have the mystery bombardments, which I don't know if I missed this, but where the hell did those bombardments come from? I think they're trying to keep that a mystery of sorts, because I thought of a couple things. There's the Anju thing, but as well, there is like maybe Fido set it up, or somebody did. Like, I don't know who did it. At first, I thought it was like, oh, this is the Republic. This is my theory playing out, but it actually seems my theory was wrong. It seems the Republic, what's left of it at least, is not bailing him out. It seems that they were able to take out Kiri on their own, which, by the way, that climax scene where Shin is like, Frederica, where is the cockpit? And of course, she tells him, he launches himself, puts the cannon where it needs to go, and destroys Kiri, and then it self-destructs as this is the cliffhanger of the episode. Wow, that was beautifully done. I actually didn't expect the episode to end there. This is gonna be a weird comparison, but to me, I compare what is a good cliffhanger between Halo 2 and God of War 2. I think God of War 2 has a really bad cliffhanger in my opinion, but I think Halo 2's is one of the best cliffhangers. And if you can compare yourself to Halo 2's cliffhanger, you're in the good graces in my opinion, even though I think a lot of people back in the day hated that cliffhanger. I think this is, this is not, we're not waiting 3 years for a sequel to a video game, right? This is pretty much just, we're waiting 3 months for the last 2 episodes of 86. And I think this was a phenomenal cliffhanger. So good. I love that they implemented a self-destruct sequence. It also also makes sense that the Legion would do this. This is not just something they did because, oh, we need hype, suspension, drama. There's actually reasons behind this, because if you think about it, if humans, or anyone rather, were able to salvage the equipment of Morpho, well, they could just use that weapon against them. So of course they would use the self-destruct sequence. Of course they'd implement something like that. And of course nobody would know about it. That's another thing. I like how they didn't add even more suspense that was arbitrary by, you know, having like a loudspeaker over Morpho go self-destruct and sequence initiated. No, they don't care. Why would the Legion care? They are Legion. They don't care if this thing blows up and knocks out a couple hundred of their Legion. No, they can just make more of those. They'll be fine. And that's what I loved about this. It just came out of nowhere, and it wasn't until it happened that Frederica even noticed. And I like the touch of Frederica noticing, because of course Frederica would notice. She has special powers to where she would notice a split second before it happened. Oh my God, this is about to happen. Now, with that being said, do I think Shin is dead? Absolutely not. Do I think he somehow miraculously made it out with an extremely damaged mech? Yes, I do. I do not think we're going to see any more fighting. I think after this, what is probably going to happen is they're probably going to be picked up by most likely the Empire, what's left of the Empire, probably Wenzel, probably going to be picked up by her, or somebody from the Empire just in general to bring them back. And I think that is essentially how the next episodes are really going to go. I can't really think of what they could do in the next couple episodes that is going to be like really crazy. Like, maybe they have more Legions show up, and at that point, what are they going to do? I think maybe the next episode is probably going to show that Anju and Kurina are still alive and Theo are still alive. Raiden still, I mean, that's pretty clear cut. He's gotten decimated. And I think actually his death was probably necessary to have Shin's character go the extra mile to annihilate and destroy Morpho and Kiri, because if you think about it, this is kind of like Shin's Super Saiyan moment in Dragon Ball Z, where Frieza kills Krillin and that forces Goku over the edge to become a Super Saiyan. It's kind of the same mechanics going on here, where Shin dies and he's just like, I'm the last one. I'm probably gonna die, but I'm gonna kill you first. Because you killed Raiden and you killed all of my comrades, so you're going to die and you're going to pay for that. This was just really good stuff all around. I also want to talk about some of the dialogue that Kiri used in this. I like how, generally speaking, Kiri was talking about how he would have loved to have Shin fight for the Empire, and if Shin was around the time when the Empire fell and was working for them, probably wouldn't have ever fall. And I agree with that. Shin is such an extreme talent that it would make sense, I think, in some made up different alternate universe that Shin and Kiri working together would be almost freaking unstoppable. I mean, they're technically related. They're part of the same clan, but as well, they're both, I like the touch that they're both really good at close quarters combat. I thought that was a neat little thing. And I like how when Frederica realizes it, Shin realizes it's pretty much bad juju at that point. It's like, oh no, what did I do? This is very bad. It's just really good stuff, man. Like, this fight, I don't know what else to say other than that it is one of, if not the best fights that I've seen this whole season. Really good stuff, really well done from beginning to end. I'm trying to think of other stuff that I like about this scene because it's just such a good scene. There's so many things going on. I think the scene where Frederica fires the gun, I think that is a really good scene, especially thematically for her character, but as well Kiri and Shin's character and her relation to all of them. That is some really emotionally such good stuff going on there. Future SeaTactics here, because as he was editing the video, he went, oh my God, there's actually a lot of more stuff to discuss as he was watching the episode while editing again. Okay, so first of all, I want to say that the music for Sawano in this episode was phenomenal. I believe the song is called Answer or The Answer or something like that, which, by the way, an epic name. When that track started to play, it gave me goosebumps all over again. I love that track. I think Sawano, for the most part, I don't really like his Legend of the Galactic Heroes stuff, but I think pretty much all of his stuff outside of that, I really quite enjoy. And I love his use of insert songs like this. And I think this one in particular is one that really fits the series musically. And I thought it really fit the scene in this track, or well, I thought the track really fit this scene so phenomenally well. I mean, when you think about it, Sawano is honestly the master of this kind of stuff. I think this is where he really shines. He's just amazing when it comes to putting music in the right places, and his use of like non-conventional tracks like these, I don't want to call them pop songs, but these sort of like pop songs where it's like a full band, it's not even like just purely instrumental or theatrical tracks. It's just a normal song that you would hear on the radio or something like that. Well, Spotify or something like that, not the radio, I suppose. Either way, Sawano, man, you are the bomb. You do so good on this anime. It's in most anime that you're on. You're really that great. Other than that, there's, come on now. I can't believe I had it written down in my notes, but like, wow, that was Lena's voice, right? That had to be Lena's voice in Shin's head, which makes me think once again that these past 2 episodes were there to bring back Vladilena. And I talked about in this video, like, I don't know where the series is headed. Where is it going? After hearing that, I think the next 2 episodes are going to be Vladilena and the Republic focused. It would make a lot of sense to have the next episodes show the downfall of the Republic while we focused on Shin. I think that'd be a great way to end the series, but as well, that was Lena's voice, right? And I think is where there's something to be said about Shin's character, that he's, looking for that special someone, right? That someone or, thing, whatever he's chasing, could be a feeling that brings him back to the Shin that we were before he kind of regressed. And this scene just makes it all the more obvious what's going on there. That was some brilliant stuff. I really, really enjoyed that Vladilena hint right there. And that was totally her voice. Like, come on. Like, we're not kidding each other, right? We both heard Vladilena's voice, right? Do you guys think that's Vladelena's voice? I mean, go back and watch some of the other episodes. It sounds exactly like Vladilena. Also, as well, I'd like to mention the stuff with Frederica, Shin, and Kiri. There's this great scene right pretty much when we know actually Kiri is going to die. It cuts to this sequence where we see him basically get murdered pretty much by a firing squad. And it seems like his death was rather tragic in many ways, because it seemed like all he was trying to do was protect Frederica and his country, and he was pretty much murdered. I mean, we know that like he went crazy and stuff, but still, it seems like he was just trying to do the right thing and led him down the path that it led him down. And it was very sad that you see all of these images that we've seen previously in the series early on in this season. In fact, Frederica and Kiri together are having fun, they're happy, and then Frederica envisions this moment where it's Shinra, I can't remember his brother's name at the moment, I apologize. Remembers Shin's brother, and as well Kiri, and they're all 3 together, they're all happy, and they're all under, one singular banner, and it's very sad. It's just one of those things where you saw how it could have been, right? And it's really sad and disheartening, to say the least. But yeah, overall, I think this was a fantastic episode to end the series on, without a doubt. Put down in the comments what you thought about this episode. I hope you all have a fantastic Christmas. Thank you all for watching over the year. You guys made this year so much better, especially the fall season. I love you all, and thank you for following me during 86. We're gonna see you guys in March, but until then, once again, I have my episode 20 video up from yesterday. It released pretty late because I got a strike, so check that out. And before you go, just know that next season I will be talking about Attack on Titan and the case studies of Vanitas. Thanks for watching, you guys. I'll see you next season. Bye-bye.